and I thought it might just be a fun thing to go through and make a little video about her. And because I main support, and because I also have played a lot of Disc Priest in World of Warcraft, which she is based off of. So I guess just like really briefly introducing her. Whitemane is the last boss in one of the Scarlet Monastery dungeons in the game, which is around the level 30-ish level in the game. She's the last boss of Cathedral, I'm pretty sure. And she's a really iconic character in the game from a long time ago because of her design and her fight and the abilities that she uses. But, so, I guess starting off going through her abilities, like I said, she's based on a discipline priest, an atonement priest in World of Warcraft. And you see this in that, so her Q ability, Desperate Plea, which is a priest ability in World of Warcraft, but this is essentially the, oh my god, I'm like totally blanking on the name of. Hey guys, Sig here, what's up? So, I'm on the PTR right now, checking out the new character, Whitemane. I'm pretty excited about her. She's coming out next week, and the reason I'm excited is because, so I play a lot of, well, I main support, and I've also played a lot of Disc Priest in World of Warcraft. And last year sometime, when I was just kind of like thinking to myself how I would like to see a Disc Priest brought over into World of Warcraft, or into Heroes of the Storm, excuse me, I definitely thought to myself that I would really like to see the atonement mechanic, where you basically heal through damage dealt. I thought it's something that's not in the game, and I thought would be really interesting, and thankfully, that is the direction Blizzard decided to go with it, rather than the like old disc model of shield mitigation. So I guess the first thing that I'll jump into here is going through her abilities, and we'll start with her trait, which is called Zeal. All of these things in her kit are present in Discipline Priest in World of Warcraft, but they've just been given slightly different names to match her like more fanatic persona from the Scarlet Crusade from Warcraft lore. And so Zeal is effectively your atonement, where anytime you use a healing ability on an ally, it puts a buff on them, and you see it lasts for 8 seconds, and they're healed for 100% of the damage that you deal. And so the main way that you get atonement or zeal onto your allies is through Whitemane's Q ability is called Desperate Plea. And this is an ability also in World of Warcraft, but in WoW it's called, it's just Plea, not Desperate Plea. And so the way this works is it starts off as a really cheap healing ability that the more times you use it, you gain a stack of desperation, which increases the mana cost of the ability. So as long as you're only using cheap little 1-stack heals, it doesn't really affect your mana pool. But if you're constantly spamming the heal once you're at 3 stacks, you can see from the red line, like, I can only do it 3 times at level 1, and now I can't do it again. So, it's... basically, plea is not the way that you're meant to heal, obviously. You're meant to heal through the damage you deal. So, after you get plea onto a target, your #1 damage dealing ability is going to be Inquisition, which effectively is Penance from World of Warcraft. It's a channeled ability that does damage every half second for 3 seconds. And so this is going to be the main source of healing that you're able to do. Far more healing than you can do with Desperate Plea. The last ability that she has is called Searing Slash, which is effectively like your smite spam from World of Warcraft. But it has an interesting little twist on it in that if you hit a hero with it... oh my god, Sonya's totally about to die. If you hit a minion with it, it only casts once.
Choose a talent.
But if you manage to hit a hero with it whenever Arthas comes back... oh my god. It casts a second flame. Let's go ahead and heal her up. I chose Sonya because Sonya's a front liner, and so I wanted to be able to show you guys like how much healing you can essentially expect to do from someone who's not a tank, but is going to be taking damage on the front line that you're going to need to mitigate. And so you can already see she's already at low health, and she's just going right back in for it. But, okay, you're just going to die, aren't you? I am, like, barely keeping her alive. But let's go ahead and, let's reset the level. Start over. Now that I've gone through her abilities, I guess the next thing I'm going to do is go through her talents. So, starting off at level 1, we have Martyrdom, which increases Desperate Plea's healing by 30% for each stack that you have. And so... I've done a little bit of math about this, and at level 1, if you have 1 stack of Desperation, you're eating up 6% of your mana. If you have 2 stacks, you're eating up 18% of your mana, and 3 stacks, it's 30% of your mana per heal. And if you take the talent Martyrdom, the amount of healing that you increase from, the base level is 151. So with Martyrdom, at 1 stack, you'll do 196 healing, at 2 stacks, you'll do 242 healing, and finally, at 3 stacks, you'll do 287 healing. This is compared to, the next talent is Clemency, which is, I don't remember what the talent is called in World of Warcraft, but Disc Priest, also in World of Warcraft, Penance is only able to damage abilities unless you take a talent which allows you to channel it onto your allies. And so you can see here that it does 386 healing over 3 seconds. And this is definitely going to outpace anything that you're going to get from Searing Lash spam or from taking Martyrdom, even at the cost of giving up your Inquisition. So Inquisition does, oh my gosh, it's 55 times 6 at level 1, 330 healing at level 1, and now if you look at Clemency, you do 386 healing to an ally. So it's more upfront healing for the person that you're trying to heal anyways, but the drawback, of course, being that this can only be used on 1 person compared to if you have Zeal up on multiple targets, they all will gain the benefit of the Inquisition healing. The next talent she has at level 1 is Righteous Flame, which does 50% more damage to enemies who are stunned, root, or silent. So if you are running, or slowed, if you're running with a team that has a lot of CC, you'll probably get a lot of value out of this, but you're, again, not going to get anywhere near as much value as you're going to get out of Clemency normally. The last talent she has at level 1, Pity the Frail, enemies, or allies who are below 50% health get 25% more healing from Zeal. Cool, but again, like, Clemency is pretty much just always going to win out at this tier at the beginning of the game. Our next talent is at level 4, so let's skip up there.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
Unwavering Faith reduces Desperate Plea's mana cost by 30, and when you get to 3 stacks, you gain a shield for 5 seconds. So removing the mana cost by 30 means that your first cast of Desperate Plea is not going to cost you any mana. Your second cast is going to cost you half the mana it normally would, and your third cast, it's going to reduce the mana cost by 30% because it's 90 at that point normally. Your next talent, High Inquisitor, however many stacks of Zeal you currently have on yourself, using Inquisitor will remove all of those and restore 60 mana per stack. So if you have 3 stacks, that's 180 mana. And so what this winds up being is that, because also if you don't take Clemency at level 1, which reduces the cooldown also of Inquisition by 3 seconds. If you don't take this 3-second cooldown, it's a 14-second cooldown. So this comes out to 60 to 180 mana per use, which is like 4.3 to 12.9 mana per second, effectively. If you take the level 1 talent, so that it's 11 seconds, it comes out to 5.45 to 16.36 mana per second. If you take Indulgence, you get 10 mana per hero hit with the first cast of Searing Lash, I'm sorry. And then the second one restores 30. So it's 40 total if you hit with both flames per enemy hero hit. And so what this comes out to is 10 to 40 mana per 5 seconds per hero that you hit, or 2 to 8 mana per second per hero hit. So like both of these fall behind High Inquisitor, definitely. For you to get the same value out of Indulgence that you're going to get out of High Inquisitor, you pretty much need to, every time you use the ability, be hitting with both lashes, and you need to be hitting multiple enemies, 2 to 3. Honestly, for you to get like max value, obviously you got to be hitting 5, and to like, if you start looking at some of the later talents, really the only way that you can keep up in lash damage is by consistently hitting 3 to 5 heroes with a reduced cooldown of the ability to try to keep up in mana restoration and healing compared to that you can do if you basically go the W build. Going on to level 7.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
Starting with Zealous Spirit, upon reaching 2 stacks of Desperation, Whitemane gains Zeal. I don't think this is all that valuable, personally, and really, like, the Q build in general. So, like, I guess I'll try to compare this to Alex Draw's Q build, which gives you a lot of sustain, but for Whitemane, who's supposed to be healing through damage, going the Q build is kind of counterintuitive. You're really kind of working against yourself if you're trying to do the bulk of your healing through Desperate Plea rather than doing it through Inquisition and a little bit of Searing Lash. So, in my opinion, it's always going to come down to, in this tier, either Fanatical Power, which is a 30-second cooldown that increases your spell power by 50% at the trade-off of you're going to lose 25 armor, which basically means that like you take 25% more damage for 5 seconds. So obviously this is going to be a burst heal. If you pop this before using either of your Clemency or your Inquisition abilities, you're going to do way more healing through your Zeal trait. The last one is Intercession, 60-second cooldown, activate to make an ally unstoppable for 1 second and gain 1 stack of Desperation. So in the past in Heroes of the Storm, a lot of supports had what's called Cleanse, which makes an ally unstoppable. And this is like one of the strongest abilities in the game because such an integral part of the game is that if you can lock down a single hero and kill them, you instantly turn a fight in your favor. So being able to make an ally unstoppable that they can just run through anything to escape is an enormous boon. It's so powerful, actually, and Blizzard felt that there was so little counterplay to all the cleanses at the time that they have steadily, over talent reworks and hero releases, been removing it from heroes, or alternatively, making it so that you have to do interesting character-specific abilities to use your cleanse ability. And they've also been giving, like, self-cleanses to a lot of tanks and some other characters so that there's much less honest on the support to have this ability. But all that said, in high level play especially, cleanse is always invaluable. So like most of the time you're going to want to take this over fanatical power. If you're not going against a lot of CC, then obviously fanatical power is in your favor. I'm going to take this for now. Well, it's not going to matter because we're going to move on. So the next tier is at level 10. This is our ultimate ability.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
So our first ultimate ability, Scarlet Aegis, 60-second cooldown. It blasts a little area with light that is going to heal all allies in the area for 370 and is going to grant them 40 armor for 4 seconds, meaning that they're going to take 40% less damage. This is definitely powerful, especially considering that unlike Disc Priest and WoW, you don't have any other ability through Whitemane to get Zeal up on multiple heroes at the same time if you're needing to pump out a lot of healing. This has always kind of been one of the drawbacks of Disc Priest and Legion this past X-Pack, is that you pretty much need to always be ahead of the damage that's coming out. You need to intelligently get Zeal up, or I'm sorry, Atonement and WoW on your most valuable targets before damage starts coming out, and then you just need to lay into an enemy to try to out-heal the damage that's coming out. Because if a lot of damage comes out onto a lot of your allies at once, you are really strapped for healing up your group quickly. That is not what Disc is built for. And so Scarlet Aegis is what's going to cover up for this weakness the most. And because of what we'll see at level 20, this is what most people are going to wind up taking, I'm pretty sure. Your next one, Divine Reckoning, a 100-second cooldown. After 1 second, consecrate the area for 4 seconds, dealing 77 damage every half second. Well, sorry, we just leveled up to level 11, so it's not actually that. Let's double check this.
Choose a talent.
It's 74 damage. And so this actually, if you look at Inquisition, it's slightly less damage than Inquisition, but it lasts for 1 second longer. So you can think of it essentially as like a slightly stronger AoE Inquisition against the enemy, in which if you have Zeal up on multiple players, it's going to do a fair amount of healing, but it's not going to do near the amount of healing that Scarlet Aegis is just going to do instantly on everyone. Scarlet Aegis is great, and it has a lower cooldown. Let's go on up to level 13 now.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
Starting with Self-Righteous, another Q talent. Casting Desperate Plea on an ally heals Whitemane for 208, but does not grant her Zeal. Actually, in this tier, this is not bad. It's not amazing, but this heals for a fair amount. It's like 8.7% of your health pool at level 13 for Whitemane. But coming down here to Harsh Discipline, hitting a hero with Searing Lash while they are being targeted by Inquisition roots them for 1.5 seconds. This is a little bit of a take on another healer in the game, Stukov, was shown in the Western Clash earlier this year to be really strong because he has a certain talent combo that would allow him to root enemies in place to secure kills for his team. It's just like a crazy strong combo. But I feel like this actually reads a little strangely because if you have Inquisition on a target and then try to use Searing Flame or Searing Lash, it actually ends the channel of Inquisition. So the way that you have to do this, let's toggle our cooldowns, is you have to, oh, he's gonna die, great. Okay, he's gonna come back out. You have to cast Searing Lash first, and then get your Inquisition while the second flame is happening, essentially.
That was rather
So you're not gonna be able to see it at that point. So we're gonna wait for Arthas to respond real quick. So I'm just gonna get him to focus me for a second. Well, he's gonna ignore me. So there, you see the little chains that root him. So you have to actually start with Searing Lash and get the second blast while you're canceling or while you're using Inquisition to get this ability or to get this root. The next one, Guiding Light. When Zeal is applied to allies other than Whitemane, it grants them 20% movement speed for 2 seconds. This is actually pretty good because your mount speed in Heroes of the Storm is 30%, so it's 10% less than mount speed. It's really great, but it's also not all that valuable considering, again, we'll see this at level 20, that there's a more powerful talent that kind of, I won't say negates this talent, but makes it far less important, especially compared to the root talent for it. There we go, securing kills. Let's go to level 16 now.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent. Killing spree.
Glory.
Choose a talent. Choose a
We
talent.
have, starting off with another Q talent, Radiance. Upon reaching 3 stacks of Desperation, all allies with Zeal are healed for 375. This actually is pretty good. At level 16, where we are, this comes out to being almost 14% of Whitemane's health pool. Obviously, for like tanks and bruisers that have higher health pools, it's going to be different. But it's still pretty valuable, actually.
Our desires
Sacred
align.
Punishment. Upon casting Inquisition, can chain to an additional enemy hero near the target, dealing 66 damage every half second. So what this actually comes out to is you're doing an extra 396 healing from this chain attack, compared to the 375 healing that you're doing if you take Self-Righteous. It's only going to chain to one other hero. It's not going to chain to multiple heroes. But again, if you happen to have Zeal up on multiple people, you will get slightly more healing out of this for everyone than you will if you have Self-Righteous. But Self-Righteous is going to happen, or Radiance is going to happen much quicker. The last one here is Lashing Out, which is Searing Lash's second strike deals 25% more damage and reduces Searing Lash's cooldown to 1 second if it hits a hero. So the 25% extra damage comes out to being another 38.5 healing, which is like totally negligible. But reducing the cooldown to 1 second is pretty nice. But if you do the math, it turns out that you need to hit with because remember, if we took the original talent for Clemency, Inquisition now has an 11-second cooldown instead of a 14-second cooldown. And so, reducing Searing Lash from a 5-second cooldown to a 1-second cooldown, if you normalize it to like 10 seconds, you need to hit all 10 full blast Searing Lashes to get this equivalent amount of healing that you're going to get out of taking either Shared Punishment or Radiance. And, like, that is just very unrealistic, in my opinion, to happen. So, I would avoid this talent, and I would stick with going to one of these two. I'm just going to continue my W build, since I've already been putting so many resources into it. And I assume that's what a lot of people will do. But finally, let's get to our Storm talents at level 20.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
The devout
Choose a talent.
shall be rewarded.
Choose a talent.
What was I taking here? Oh, yes.
Choose a
our root
talent. Choose a
Glory
talent.
and
Oh, no.
zeal.
I accidentally double-clicked. So,
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
I deserve
Choose a
this.
talent.
sorry, give me
Choose a
1 second.
talent. Choose a talent.
Oh my god, did that just...
Choose a
no.
talent.
Okay, so, going back to level 10, Scarlet Aegis, besides being a powerful ultimate on its own, the reason I think most people are going to take Scarlet Aegis is actually for the Storm upgrade, which is that it heals for 50% more and makes all allies unstoppable for 1 second. So I was telling you guys earlier about the, where did our 20% movement speed go? Level 13? Oh no, sorry. Guiding Light. Like, this is a pretty good talent for helping allies escape, but this is negligible compared to making your entire team unstoppable for 1 second. Like, this is the ultimate escape card. If you took Divine Reckoning at 10 and come back to Judgment Day at level 20, dealing 50% more damage and pulls enemies to the center. So that means it makes it harder for them to get out of. So it's going to do more damage, but you're not going to wind up seeing this very often because most people aren't going to be picking Divine Reckoning, I don't think. Subjugation. Inquisition reduces all damage the target deals by 75%. This is situational, but at level 20, you're late game, and if you're going against other heroes that are late game scaling healers, like Nazebo or Asmodon now gets stupid powerful at level 20, like, if you're going up against an enemy that is able to do a lot of damage late game, then this can be pretty invaluable for helping remove that enemy from the picture, essentially. The last one is Purge the Wicked. Activate to blast an enemy hero with Holy Fire, reducing their armor by 25, so 25% more damage, and dealing 658 damage over 4 seconds. Like all Storm talents, this is definitely a strong ability. If the enemy team doesn't have a lot of CC, so you don't feel the need to take Scarlet Crusade, Purge the Wicked is able to do a lot. And what you wind up doing here, actually, if you took Fanatical Power, I was reading earlier today that if you take all these talents, you can actually wind up doing a pretty devastating amount of damage to an enemy. You can pretty much 100 to 0 a lot of the mage characters in the game by combining Searing Lash with Inquisition and these two other talents that you have. So, I guess at this point, I've gone through everything, and I'm just going to try to cut it here to let this video not be so long. I'm sure it's already stupid long from my rambling. But, yeah, if you have any questions, anything you want to say, leave a comment. I'll see you guys in the Nexus.